Very good afternoon to everyone at home and also to our reporter Michael Bridge as well. So we should tell you that there are reports in The Athletic from David Ornstein in the last few minutes. He's reporting that Al Hilal have reached an agreement in principle with Liverpool to sign Darwin Nunez. Now we're hearing, he is reporting it's 53 million euros plus add-ons, and that agreement has been done verbally. Right, we are chasing that right now, and of course we will update you as and when we have more information. So that's Manchester United. What about Newcastle United? Keith Downey's at the club's training ground for us. Right, Keith, good afternoon to you. What is the feeling at the club, as at the moment it looks like they could miss out on another target?
Yeah, look, I think there's a mixture of disappointment and also probably just feeling in the dark a little bit over this. I think the fear from Newcastle at the start of the week was that they might get strung along in this with Manchester United on Monday still having yet to make a formal bid for Benjamin Sesko. Of course, we told you on Saturday that Newcastle had made the opening offer of 65 plus 5, and then of course they upped that offer on Monday to 80 million euros plus add-ons, which of course is a club record for Newcastle. It feels like they've given everything they can, and they've really thrown the kitchen sink at it. But you know, just the noises you're hearing from inside, and one source that has been telling us or maintaining to us for days now that Manchester United is Benjamin Sesko's favoured destination. I don't think it was that he is or was against Newcastle United. I think he was impressed with the plan and the project that was laid out by Eddie Howe last week when he spoke to Sesko and his representatives. But I think just that the pool of Manchester United, an institution of a football club, and as we see, as Dan mentioned and alluded to there already, Newcastle have lost out on a couple of players to Manchester United, the likes of Cunha and Mbeumo already this summer, so they still have that pool. I would suggest he's going to be earning more money at Manchester United over Newcastle as well. But as it stands, look, Newcastle haven't been told it's off. Their offer was pretty much accepted by Leipzig. It matches their valuation of the player, and although Manchester United are trying to close that gap between their offer and Newcastle, they've not quite got there yet. It feels like the decision rests with the player here, and that agreement that the player has with Leipzig to join a club if an offer comes in that suits Leipzig, and it feels as though Manchester United will probably get there. And like you say, Tom, it's just another one that looks to have been missed out by Newcastle this summer, and it's been a very bruising couple of months for those involved here at Tyneside.
I think everybody assumed, maybe correctly, maybe not, that Sesko coming in would mean Isak going out. Whether Sesko's coming in or not, what is the latest on Isak?
Yeah, look, Newcastle do not want Alexander Isak to leave. Well, they don't want him to leave at all, but he's obviously agitating to leave, and they don't want to allow him to leave without a ready-made replacement. They obviously saw Benjamin Sesko as that man, and that's why they accelerated talks for him over the weekend. Had there been no issue with Alexander Isak, I wouldn't have foreseen Newcastle moving for Sesko. I think it's been a reaction to what we've seen from Isak, of course, first failing to travel in the club's pre-season tour of Asia, and then informing the club that he wanted to explore a move away from Newcastle United. So they've made that move off the back of that. So yeah, you're right, it does have ramifications to Alexander Isak, and of course he was over in Spain training on his own alongside his own team for just over a week. He returned to the northeast on Saturday, then trained on Monday on his own at the training ground here, and then again yesterday as well, because the players and Eddie Howe had yet to return. They arrived early hours of Monday morning, so they had Monday and yesterday off. They're set to return later on today. So Isak, we're expecting at the training ground at some point today. So yeah, look, it's going to make things difficult for Isak in terms of leaving now. Had Newcastle managed to get Sesko over the line, I think that in turn would have reignited the talks with Liverpool, and if Newcastle had been able to agree a fee with Liverpool, I think Isak probably would have gone. But with Sesko looking like he's heading to Manchester United, unless Newcastle come up with something else, I can foresee a situation where Alexander Isak starts the season, ends the transfer window in a black and white jersey.
Keith, if you don't mind just staying there for a couple of minutes, just we've got some big breaking news, but we do want to come back to you there for more on Newcastle. But that breaking news is that we can now confirm that story that we were bringing you reported elsewhere a few minutes ago, is that Liverpool have reached an agreement with Al Hilal for the sale of Darwin Nunez. So big news this as well. It's understood that the Saudi Pro League club are set to pay a fixed fee of £46.2 million plus add-ons that could take the deal to £56.6 million. And Sky in Italy are reporting that Al Hilal have accepted Nunez's wage demand. So, I mean, it looks like this one is pretty much done, really. AC Milan were interested. They did make an approach, but were always unlikely to ever match these figures. So, Liverpool's Darwin Nunez looks like he's off to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia for a fee that could rise to £56.6 million. Me and Michael will be talking about that in a moment, but I've asked Keith to stay where he is. Apologies for that, Keith. Back to Newcastle. You've talked about Sesko, you've talked about Isak, but apparently there's an event going on at the training ground today.
Yeah, but before we get to that, Tom, I think it's important to say what you mentioned there, that breaking news regarding Darwin Nunez. That also could have ramifications for Alexander Isak and Newcastle, because obviously that's Liverpool, another striker short. And look, they were looking for one anyway, which is why they made that bid on Friday for Alexander Isak of £110 million plus add-ons, which of course was flatly rejected by Newcastle. But that just adds a little bit more intrigue to the Isak situation, because there's another spot up for grabs in that Liverpool attack with Nunez, by the sounds of it, about to leave. So that will be interesting to see what happens there, and whether Liverpool still come back in despite the fact Newcastle have yet to essentially replace or bring in a replacement for Isak. So it'll be really intriguing to see whether Newcastle look elsewhere on the back of Benjamin Sesko and what happens there. And although it's not over the line yet with Manchester United, it's looking like it's heading in that direction. Now, you asked me about what's going on at the training ground today. I said to you earlier that Eddie Howe and the players are back in for the first day since their pre-season tour of South Korea and Singapore. So they're in today for training this morning, and the players' families and children are invited in this afternoon. It's something that Eddie Howe has decided to have, foster the togetherness that they already have within the squad here. Look, this isn't a knee-jerk reaction. It's something they do quite often. They do it most summers with family get-togethers, barbecues. They have it a couple of times throughout the year, but Eddie Howe has decided today is a good day to have that, probably on the back of what we've seen. There's been a lot of upheaval behind the scenes, and he just wants everyone to be together. So once the players finish training, I can just hear them over my shoulder there, the noise of the players training. Once they've finished, they'll come in. Families will be invited in for lunch, activities for the children, and probably try and just bring everyone together, show that togetherness that's obviously held Newcastle so strong over the last couple of years, in the face of what we've seen over the last few weeks. Because as I touched on earlier, it has been a very bruising summer for them so far behind the scenes. But what is worth pointing out is that, look, they're still in the market. There's still a number of weeks left in the transfer market, and Newcastle, we must remember, still have money to spend.
Yeah, there is still time. You're absolutely right. Keith, thank you. Just a reminder of that breaking news that Liverpool have reached an agreement with Al Hilal for Darwin Nunez. It's understood that they will pay £46.2 million plus add-ons that could take the deal to £56.6 million. And Sky in Italy are saying that Al Hilal have accepted Nunez's wage demands. AC Milan, we told you, were interested, but they were always unlikely to match those figures. Out in Saudi Arabia at Al Hilal, they can match those figures. So Michael Bridge has been waiting patiently to talk to us about Sesko and Isak, but we're going to talk about another striker instead, Michael, because Darwin Nunez, has this come as a surprise? We knew he was available, but we thought this might take a bit longer, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, this is really intriguing now, and you can see Keith there as well, how interesting this is now in terms of Isak going forward. But we have to reiterate, and as Keith says, day after day after day, Newcastle are not selling Alexander Isak until they have a replacement in the door. With Benjamin Sesko now looked to be on his way to Manchester United, that's not going to be happening any time soon. Is this going to rumble on and on? And now you look at Liverpool now, they've had, what summer they've had so far, the money they've spent. But of course, we've got Luis Diaz going to Bayern Munich, and now their number 9 Darwin Nunez leaving. Really, really intriguing.
Yeah, it is. Okay, we'll have more on that to come, no doubt, here on Transfer Talk, because it is a huge story.
That's going to be really difficult. I mean, there's a lot of people in Isak's ear for sure. His head has definitely been turned. I mean, Liverpool, massive club. But like I say, I think there's definitely the player will know if Newcastle don't get a replacement, he's not going anywhere. And as soon as the season starts, he's going to have to get his head back in the game. And I'm sure he will. That's just how players are. They want to compete, they want to play. And ultimately, he has to play football. He's got 3 years left of his contract. Newcastle under no real pressure to sell him. I think once the season starts and the window closes, then he'll be fully back invested with Newcastle United.
Joining us, the big transfer news involving Darwin Nunez. Liverpool have reached an agreement with Al Hilal, the Saudi Pro League club, are set to pay a fixed fee of £46.2 million plus add-ons that could take the deal to £56.6 million. Just another update on that. It's all happening today. We do understand that Liverpool are yet to be informed that Nunez has accepted the move. So they don't know yet that Nunez has given the green light to make that move, but remember that the fee has been agreed, and we understand that Nunez has agreed the personal terms, understand that Nunez as well. Just go back to Liverpool now, Michael, because it could be all changed. We've just had that Darwin Nunez news, of course, going to Al Hilal, but developments overnight involving Harvey Elliott as well. What's going on with him?
Yeah, really interesting one, this, because he had a great few years at Liverpool after his move from Fulham, but we know that Leipzig have made contact with Liverpool over a potential move. Now, we're told these are early stages as they're looking for a replacement for potentially for Xavi Simons, but this is an interesting one for me, that Leipzig have been allowed to speak to Harvey Elliott as they look to sell the project to him. But look, Harvey Elliott, you know, won the league with Liverpool, he loves being there, won the under-21s with England, and he's talking to the club's in-house channel on tour. He said, if I had it my way, I'd be here for the rest of my career. I love everything about this club, but at the same time, I need to be selfish with myself and see what's best for me. He's got big ambitions, wants to get in the World Cup squad, and he talks here at length about new players coming in and whether that blocks a path for him. So he's been saying it himself. One to keep an eye on, absolutely.
In terms of, let's talk about his England chances. You talked about the under-21s. He is one of many players who does have a chance of being in the World Cup next summer. So I suppose this could well be the most important year of his career in terms of getting in that England squad and staying there.
Absolutely, it's a huge move, isn't it? But you do wonder if these talks are underway, whether any Premier League clubs will keep an eye on this, because he's such a great player. So, interesting one, but interesting that he'll be speaking to Leipzig. Will he like the sound of the project? We'll wait and see.
Yeah, versatile player as well. Right, if you're just joining us, the big transfer news this hour, Darwin Nunez is heading to Al Hilal. An agreement is in place. It's understood wages have been agreed as well. More on that to come. Plus, we'll have news from the Championship. Who has won the race to sign Chuba Akpom?